English is the gateway to the world. It's not just a language, but a tool that can change your life. By learning English, you open doors to endless opportunities, whether it's advancing your career, connecting with people globally, or accessing a wealth of knowledge. Each new word you learn is a step closer to your dreams, giving you the power to express yourself, overcome challenges, and make a difference in the world. With English, you hold the key to a brighter, more connected future today. The story of Ravi I'll tell you how to improve your spoken English. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there was a young man named Ravi. Ravi was a bright and curious soul, always eager to learn new things. But there was one challenge he had always struggled with: speaking English. Ravi had learned English in school, but whenever he tried to speak, he felt nervous and unsure of himself. The words would get stuck in his throat, and he worried about making mistakes. He knew that speaking English was important, especially if he wanted to pursue his dreams of studying abroad and traveling the world. But how could he improve? The traveler's realization one day, while working in the fields, Ravi overheard a conversation between two travelers passing through his village. They were speaking in English, and Ravi listened intently. He noticed something interesting. They weren't speaking perfectly. They made mistakes, but they laughed it off and continued their conversation with confidence. This realization sparked something in Ravi. That evening, Ravi sat down with his grandfather, who was a wise old man with a deep understanding of the world. Ravi explained his struggles and asked for advice. His grandfather smiled warmly and said, "Ravi, speaking a language is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it feels wobbly and difficult, but with practice, you gain balance and confidence." Let me tell you a story that might help. Aditi's journey, and so his grandfather began the story of Aditi and her journey to speaking English. Aditi was a young woman who lived in a similar village many years ago. Like Ravi, she was determined to learn English, but she faced the same difficulties. She would freeze up whenever she tried to speak, fearing that others would judge her. One day, Aditi met an old school teacher named Mr. Sharma, who had retired but still had a passion for teaching. Aditi approached him and expressed her desire to speak English fluently. Mr. Sharma agreed to help her, and he began by giving her some simple but powerful advice. Rule 1 to 3-1. Start small. Mr. Sharma told Aditi that she didn't need to dive into complex sentences right away. Instead, she should start with simple greetings and basic phrases. He encouraged her to say hello, good morning, and how are you to people she met every day. This helped her become comfortable with the sound of English in her mouth. 2. Think in English. One of the biggest challenges Aditi faced was translating her thoughts from her native language to English. Mr. Sharma advised her to start thinking in English, even if it was just in simple sentences. For example, if she was hungry, she would think, "I am hungry," instead of thinking in her native language first. This helped her get used to forming sentences in English. 3. Practice with a mirror. Mr. Sharma suggested that Aditi practice speaking in front of a mirror. This allowed her to see her expressions and become more aware of her body language. She would pretend to have conversations with herself, practicing different scenarios. This not only improved her speaking skills, but also boosted her confidence. Rule 4 to 6-4. Read aloud. Aditi began reading simple English books and newspapers aloud. Mr. Sharma explained that reading aloud helped to get used to the rhythm and pronunciation of English. It also allowed her to practice speaking without the pressure of conversation. 5. Learn to listen. Mr. Sharma emphasized the importance of listening. Aditi started listening to English songs, radio programs, and conversations between English speakers. She didn't always understand every word, but she paid attention to the tone, intonation, and rhythm of the language. Over time, her ear became attuned to English, making it easier for her to speak. 6. Find a speaking partner. As Aditi grew more confident, Mr. Sharma encouraged her to find a speaking partner. She found a friend who was also learning English, and they would meet regularly to practice. They made a pact to speak only in English during their conversations. This not only improved her fluency, but also made the learning process fun and engaging. Rule 7 to 10-7. Embrace mistakes. Aditi often hesitated to speak because she feared making mistakes. But Mr. Sharma reassured her that making mistakes was a natural part of learning. He told her that even native speakers make mistakes and that it was more important to communicate than to be perfect. This mindset shift helped Aditi speak more freely without worrying too much about errors. 8. Set daily goals. Mr. Sharma advised Aditi to set small, achievable goals each day. Some days, her goal was to learn 5 new words. Other days, it was to have a conversation with a stranger. These small goals added up over time, and Aditi could see her progress, which motivated her to keep going. 9. Surround yourself with English. Aditi made an effort to immerse herself in English as much as possible. She labeled objects around her house with their English names, watched English movies, and even tried to dream in English. The more she surrounded herself, the more natural it became. 10. Be patient and persistent. Mr. Sharma reminded Aditi that learning a language takes time. There would be days when she felt frustrated or discouraged, but he encouraged her to be patient with herself. He told her that persistence was the key to success and that every little effort she made would bring her closer to her goal. Ravi's transformation as the months passed. Aditi's confidence grew. She started having simple conversations, then more complex ones. Her journey was not always smooth, but she never gave up. By the time a year had passed, Aditi was speaking English fluently. When Ravi's grandfather finished the story, he looked at Ravi and said, "Remember, Ravi, there's no shortcut to learning a language. It's about practice, patience, and persistence." Inspired by his grandfather's words, Ravi began his own journey. He started small, practicing simple phrases, and gradually built up his confidence. He found a speaking partner, read aloud, and embraced his mistakes. With time and effort, Ravi became a fluent English speaker ready to take on the world. And just like Aditi, Ravi learned that the key to mastering any language is not just in the words you say, but in the courage to speak them, no matter how imperfectly at first. Finding inspiration daily, Ravi's journey was a winding road filled with moments of doubt, frustration, and occasional triumphs. It taught him resilience, self-belief, and the value of perseverance. Ravi realized early on that he needed to find inspiration in his daily life to keep his motivation alive. One day, while walking through the village, Ravi heard a group of children playing and laughing. They were speaking in a mix of their native language and English. Ravi paused to listen. The children were fearless. They switched effortlessly without worrying about making mistakes. This striking observation struck Ravi deeply. Children learn naturally because they're unafraid of errors. They focus on communication and play. Inspired by this, Ravi began to approach English with the same playful curiosity. He started to view each conversation as a chance to explore rather than a test to pass or fail. This shift in mindset was crucial. It allowed him to let go of the fear that had been holding him back, creating the environment. Ravi understood that to truly master English, he needed to create an environment that constantly exposed him. He began with small changes. He switched the language settings on his phone and other devices to English. He filled his home with English labels so every time he reached for something, he'd be reminded of its English name. Every morning, Ravi started his day by describing his plans in English. Today, I will go to the market. I need to buy vegetables. This habit helped him practice forming sentences and made him more comfortable thinking in a language. Developing the routine consistency was key to Ravi's progress. He developed a daily routine. Morning practice. Each morning, Ravi would spend 10 minutes reading aloud from a simple English book or newspaper. This practice helped him with pronunciation and fluency. Daily journal. At the end of each day, Ravi wrote a short diary entry in English. It was just a few sentences about what he did that day, but it forced him to recall vocabulary and practice sentence structure. Conversation time. Ravi set aside time every day to talk to someone in English. Sometimes it was a speaking partner. Other times it was a shopkeeper or a neighbor. These real-life conversations were invaluable in building his confidence. Listening and speaking practice. Ravi listened to English songs and tried to sing along. He also listened to the news in English while cooking or doing chores. Mimicking the sounds helped him improve his own speech. Review and reflect. Once a week, Ravi would review what he had learned, focusing on areas where he struggled. He made a list of new words, phrases, or grammatical structures he wanted to master. This routine became a part of Ravi's life. Every minute spent learning was a step closer to his goal. Connecting and overcoming. Ravi knew that language is a tool for connection. He joined a local group where people practiced English together. These group sessions were particularly valuable because they offered diverse perspectives. Ravi learned not only from his own practice, but also from listening to others. Overcoming plateaus. As Ravi's skills improved, he inevitably hit plateaus where progress seemed to slow down. These were challenging times, but Ravi didn't give up. Instead, he adjusted his approach. He challenged himself with more difficult material, like reading books slightly above his comfort level, or engaging in conversations on complex topics. Ravi's grandfather had once told him, when you hit a wall, it's not a sign to stop. It's a sign to climb higher. Ravi took this advice to heart. Building vocabulary foundations, Ravi understood that vocabulary was the foundation. He made it a priority to expand his vocabulary every day, but rather than just memorizing lists of words, Ravi learned them in context. Whenever he came across a new word, he didn't just write it down. He wrote a sentence using that word. He practiced saying it out loud, finding synonyms and understanding its nuances. For example, if he learned the word happy, he also learned related words like joyful, content, and cheerful. This not only helped him remember the words, but also allowed him to express himself more precisely. Ravi also kept a vocabulary notebook where he jotted down new words and phrases. Every week, he reviewed this notebook and tried to use the new words in his daily conversations and writing. The power of stories. One day, while visiting his grandfather, Ravi discovered an old English novel on the bookshelf. It was a classic story filled with adventure, emotion, and rich language. Ravi decided to read it even though it was challenging. Reading the novel was a transformative experience. As he followed the characters' journeys, he realized that stories are a powerful way to learn a language. The emotions, dialogues, and descriptions in the novel brought the language to life in a way that no textbook could. He learned not just words, but also how to express complex ideas. This realization led Ravi to explore more stories, both in books and through conversations. Storytelling became a crucial part of his language learning, helping him connect with others and practice his speaking skills in a natural, engaging way. Staying motivated always. Ravi's journey was not without its challenges. There were days when he felt overwhelmed, but Ravi had learned the importance of motivation. He found motivation in his goals. Ravi reminded himself why he was learning English. He kept a list of these reasons and looked at it whenever he felt discouraged. Ravi also found motivation in his progress. He celebrated every small victory, whether it was successfully having conversation or understanding a difficult passage in a book. These moments of success kept him going. Finally, Ravi stayed motivated by staying positive. He learned to be kind to himself, understanding that mistakes were part of the process. Instead of getting frustrated, he saw it as a sign that he was pushing his boundaries. The reward and final word as months turned into years. Ravi's persistence paid off. He became known in his village as the young man who had mastered English. He was able to help others in the village who were also trying to learn. Ravi's journey also opened up new opportunities. He was able to apply for scholarships to study abroad. And when he traveled to new countries, he could communicate easily with people from different backgrounds. English had become more than just a language to him. It was a bridge. Ravi's story is a testament to the power of persistence, practice, and a positive mindset. To anyone embarking on the journey to learn English, remember this: your journey is unique. Don't be discouraged by mistakes. Don't rush the process. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Practice every day and find joy in the small victories. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You have the ability to learn and grow. Like Ravi, you can master English, and in doing so, open doors to a world of new possibilities. Your journey may be challenging, but it will also be rewarding beyond measure. Keep going, stay motivated, and trust that your hard work will lead you to success.